Donald Trump has been convicted on all 34 counts in his New York hush money trial, making him the first former American president to be found guilty of felony crimes. The former president spoke to reporters outside the courthouse after the verdict had been read.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
The jury's judgment Thursday caps a trial centered on claims of sex and financial cover-ups and exposes Trump to prison time. The sentencing date is set for July 11th. U.S. officials say President Joe Biden partially lifted a ban on Ukraine using U.S. arms in strikes on Russian territory. AP Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports.
Two officials say that allows Kyiv to use American weaponry in Russia for the limited purpose of defending Kharkiv, which is under Russian assault. They stress the policy that Ukraine not use those arms to mount offensive strikes in Russia has not changed. The move comes a day after Secretary of State Antony Blinken hinted at a shift.
At every step along the way, we've adapted and adjusted as necessary.
Ukrainian officials have been stepping up calls to allow their forces to defend themselves against attacks coming from Russian territory. This morning, NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg urged Western nations to reconsider any restrictions.
I believe that the time has come.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
You'll find expanded coverage of world news and events at our website, voanews.com. This is VOA News. 14 pro-democracy activists are convicted, 2 acquitted in Hong Kong's biggest national security case. AP correspondent Karen Shemus reports.
A court found the activists guilty of conspiracy to commit subversion, which could see them face life in prison. The activists plan to hold an unofficial primary election, which the court said would have undermined the government's authority and created a constitutional crisis. In 2019, a protest movement filled the city's streets with demonstrators. Authorities have all but silenced dissent in Hong Kong through reduced public choice in elections, crackdowns on media, and the Beijing-imposed security law, under which the activists have been convicted. I'm Karen Shemas.
A Greek-owned and Marshall Islands-flagged bulk carrier that came under attack by Yemen's Houthi rebels earlier this week had a cargo of grain bound for Iran. Tehran is the group's main benefactor. That's according to comments from authorities on Thursday. The attack Tuesday on the Lax comes as the Houthis continue their attacks on shipping throughout the Red Sea corridor. It's part of a campaign, they say, aims to pressure Israel over its war against Hamas in the Gaza Strip and the West. Shipping through that artery has dropped during the months of attacks, but the rebels have struck vessels associated with Iran as well as Tehran's economic lifelines of China and Russia. Cricket begins a campaign to win over American sports fans this week as the T20 World Cup kicks off on Saturday, bringing the best of the game to less familiar territory. Reuters correspondent Freddie Joyner reports.
The journey started with Major League Cricket, which began play in the United States last year, and culminates with the 2028 Los Angeles Games, where cricket will be reintroduced to the Olympic program for the first time since the year 1900. But for this year's World Cup, which counts Jamaican track hero Usain Bolt as an ambassador, a strategic decision was made to build a temporary stadium in one of the world's biggest sports markets, right outside New York City.
The decision to build the temporary stadium in Nassau County and stage 8 matches there is really raising awareness about our sport in one of the world's biggest cities and in the country with the world's biggest sports market.
The ICC T20 World Cup, co-hosted by the West Indies, runs from June 1st through the 29th.
Freddie Joyner from Reuters. Kenyan President William Ruto says the cost of hiring a private jet for his state visit to the U.S. last week was $76,000 as opposed to the $1.2 million reported by Kenyan media outlets. Ruto said some friends offered him a cheaper jet after he made inquiries and offered to travel using the state carrier Kenya Airways. The president undertook a 4-day trip to the U.S. last week where his host, President Joe Biden, praised him for, quote, bold leadership. Ruto's delegation of about 30 people, including musicians, actors, and a comedian, provoked an uproar back home over the cost.
Thank you for watching. Can you do me a favor? Please leave a comment in the comment section below. That would really help. Thank you, and see you again soon.